Mute the mic.
All right, man.
All right, we're live. What up, bro? What up, everybody? Ain't nobody here,
What's going on,
Kev.
buddy?
It's just me and you, dude. What up,
All right,
Kenksky?
buddy.
What up, Kenksky?
We're rocking.
All right. So this is the Fantasy Dad Show. This is episode 1. You have to bear with us because this is my first time doing something like this, and this is Kevin's first time ever live on stream, so that's pretty dope. Um, so, what, let me get, oh, you disappeared, Kev. Oh no.
What happened,
Are you back? Come
buddy?
back.
What happened?
Oh no. We're having failures right here, dude.
I don't know, man. I'm on. I see myself in my own screen.
Oh god, dude, they like supersized you. Thing hates me. Alright, anyway. So, we're going to be talking about a majority of things on the show. We're going to be talking about fantasy football, obviously. Today we're going to be talking about new faces in new places, as I fix Kev's face here. There he is. There we go. Alright, Kev, we got you all fixed up here. Sorry.
You almost got me in the box, right?
Hey, I got you. That's good enough, bro.
There
That's
it
good
is.
enough. What's good, Blindside? All right. So yeah. Let me open that. There we go. Okay. So, um, so this is Kevin. This is my buddy Kevin. I know him in real life. Like I said before, he's never done anything like this before. So, give him a warm welcome. And yeah, so. So with the show, we're gonna reference a lot of things. We're gonna be referencing to our league that we have. We've been doing our league for 10 years now, Kev, and so we gotta that's what we're gonna be referencing. I know a lot of the shows you probably listen to have their own league of record and stuff like that, so we're just gonna do that. We're gonna use our league that we've been using together for a while.
What is it, right? Fantasy Forever?
Fantasy Forever, yep, that's the name of the league. Fantasy for
Yeah.
10 years, dude. We made that back in high school. It's nuts, dude. It's nuts. And we went from what
I mean,
$10 buy-in.
I think I missed the first year, but I've been in since that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
whatever.
like 2012, I want to say.
Yeah, you won it once. I won it twice. Yeah, I mean, it's a very competitive league. Big money league. We pay $200 a team, so we take it very seriously. I've won it twice. Kev, you've won it once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
2 years ago.
yeah, and it's not an easy league to win. That's for sure, dude. It's like I think the past 3 years we've had the 8 seed go to this championship, and it's just coming out of nowhere and absolutely dominating.
It's the hardest league to get your waiver guy.
Oh, for sure, dude.
That I've ever played in.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy because especially because a lot of us are friendly with each other in real life, so we talk about football with each other all the time. So if there's somebody out there that we like, we talk about it and it gets in everybody's ear, and then they know. And we're also in other leagues with each other too, so it's tough. It's not an easy league to get your waiver claims in.
There's no advantage.
I mean, what AJ Brown was a waiver claim in this league last year, and the guy ended up going to the Super Bowl and losing to the 1 seed. You know, it's actually no, he beat the 1 seed. He beat the 1 seed. He ended up losing to somebody, I think the 3 or whatever it was. But yeah, it's a hard league, so that's why we're gonna reference that league a lot in the show. So what we're first gonna talk about, we're gonna jump right into 2019. We're just gonna talk about last year, what the takeaways from it. We had our success. I won 2 championships last year, both in my biggest money leagues, which is huge for me. I brought an 0-6 playoff, a team that I drafted. Terrible draft. It was probably the worst draft I've ever had in my life, and it was the first team I picked for this. You were there, Kev. You were watching me make these awful picks. I think I picked Keelan Ballage. Picked Ballage in the 4th round. It was terrible. It was bad. I went 0-6.
Darwin Thompson.
I went 0-6, and I ended up making the playoffs, so making a bunch of trades and shit. So I consider that an accomplishment. I didn't get out of the first round, but I take that as an accomplishment. And then Kev, you won 1, right? You won a championship last year.
I did in our hometown league.
Yep. There you go. So he's got a chip under his belt last year. He got most points.
2-time champ in that league.
Yep. But yeah. So I mean, last year I had some pretty good predictions. I predicted the Saquon injury, pretty much off the rip. I stayed away from him in every league. I just had a feeling he was gonna get hurt, and he did. I mean, he ended up popping off in the games he played, but still, I stayed away from Saquon. Now, the replacement pick I had wasn't so hot. Ended up being probably one of the biggest busts. He was consistent. He was a consistent mid-tier back, but in a lot of my leagues, I picked Lev Bell, number 1 overall in my league at least, and a couple other ones. I picked him pretty high.
He was only consistent because it's a full-point PPR.
Full-point PPR, and he was the only guy that really
10,
had. They were feeding
10 balls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember the one game. Who were they playing?
Was it.
Who were they playing? They just they had the 4th-string quarterback in, and they kept throwing it to Lev out of the backfield. He had 8 catches out of the backfield in one drive.
Yeah, was that after when Darnold had the mono?
The mono, yeah. I forget the Finnegan.
Yeah,
was it his name? Was it Finnegan? Is that his name? I forget his name.
He was the guy that broke his leg on Monday Night Football.
It was a bum. That guy was a bum.
And then the 3rd-string quarterback came in.
Right. Who was the 3rd stringer? That was Finnegan, no?
Yeah, something like that.
It was a weird-ass name. No one's ever heard of.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but what else? Who'd you have last year? You picked Chris Godwin was one of your guys. You were high on Godwin.
Yeah, I mean, not exactly a bold prediction because there was a lot of hype, but I was all in on that hype.
You were all in Godwin. On so you reached for him in a couple
of
leagues.
Every league except the one that really matters. Your league, I had him.
There you go. And obviously CMC, you got written down there, but A lot of people
Yeah,
had
I
him
mean,
number
I,
one.
I went with CMC number one over Barkley, Elliott,
Yeah, that's probably
Kamara.
who I should have went with. I probably would have won my league if I picked CMC number one, but
Oh, without a doubt.
we won't talk about that. Anyway, Lamar Jackson was a big success for me last year. He won me a league, big bonus league. It's double points for rushing touchdowns. We actually got Lamar really late in that league. It's also big touchdowns, like throwing touchdowns, are a big bonus too. So we got Lamar really late. People like Drew Brees got picked before him. There are also a lot of old timers in this league, so they stick by like the old school kind of quarterback kind of way. So it's kind of but we picked Lamar, and Lamar paid off big time for us. We won most points, and we won the Super Bowl, which was huge. And this is bigger money than my league, so that was awesome. We also picked Austin Eckler. That was another guy I was high on because of Melvin Gordon's holdout, and that paid off well. I mean, who else did I? Oh, Zeke. A lot of people were staying away from Zeke because of his holdout. In one of my leagues, I actually picked him 11th overall. He ended up being a stud, obviously, because he's Zeke. High on my board this year. And then my sleeper last year, DJ Chark, ended up paying out well, so that was a good prediction by me as well. Just to toot my horn, I guess, a little bit. But I also had my bust though, so I ain't gonna toot my horn too much. But what about you, Kev?
Plenty of them. With my bus.
Yeah, let's lead off with your bust, bro, because you had more than I did.
Oh yeah. Well, the big one in your league, obviously that's where I had my bust. It was really mostly just due to injury, but Devontae Adams, he started a little slow, and then he was playing Philly. I think it was a Monday night game. He was blowing up, exactly what you expected against that team, and then he gets turf toe. And he was out for like half the year. So there was that.
Half the year of a
There
turf
was that
toe.
pick.
I remember
There was
every
that
week.
little turf toe.
Every week you be texting me like, "Oh, he's coming back this week. He's coming back this week."
Yeah,
and then, like
he
Thursday,
was feeling good.
Thursday, always
like
out.
7 weeks later. I ended up actually trading him and Nick Chubb just to try to because I've had a bye. Adams was out. I needed a win. It was just a mess.
Who did you trade Nick Chubb to?
I don't even remember.
Me.
Yeah, that was you. That's right. Who ended up with Adams?
The guy who won it. You gave it to Gallardo. Remember? It was a big conundrum.
Yeah, that's right.
Big trade conundrum in my league last year. That was But we gotta. Who'd you had somebody else.
Same league. It was OJ Howard.
OJ.
A lot of hype. Took him in the 5th round. Bust.
Big bust. You weren't the only one.
I mean, I guess Bruce Arians hates tight ends, so.
I think he just hated him.
I don't know. But now they got Gronk, so we'll see what happens there. And then also I had Brandon Cooks, drafted him kind of early. Got concussed real quick like he does. And then that was that. My whole team was, besides Nick Chubb.
We were both pretty high on Darwin Thompson. I mean, I think everybody was. I think that probably go into your tip you got later on in the show. Your little tip that you're going to end the show with.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll save that.
Yeah, Darwin Thompson burnt a lot of people, but we'll talk about that later.
Lev Bell. I mean, I have him written down as a bust here. I don't think he's a bust. I think Lev Bell was just in a really bad situation. He was the offense there, in my opinion. I think he's the only thing they really had. I mean, Robbie Anderson was a good talent, but their offensive line was shot, as you could see. They also didn't have...
the only thing they really have.
And then Darnold didn't, because Darnold sucks, had mono half the year. That fucking sucked too. I mean, there was a lot of variables, man, that screwed me in the Lev Bell hype, dude.
And
I mean,
Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts.
I mean, it's
he was spooked.
I mean, I want to say he's a bust because of where I picked him. I mean, I picked him number 1 overall in the league of record, high. That's really a high. I probably could have held off and went Christian McCaffrey, even Zeke or somebody else. This draft happens the last Sunday in August or Saturday every year, so whatever. So I also had Keelan Ballage from Miami. I was high on the Ballage. I was on the Ballage hype train.
On the hype train. The hype train.
I don't know why. I mean, the guy is a bum, absolute bust as a football player. he's gone. Like I don't even think he's on the team anymore. So that's too bad. I in one round
He
in one league I picked him in like the oh that was a bad draft, dude. I
has absolutely no vision,
I
no
picked
field vision at
Lev
all.
Bell number
He
one
doesn't see the
overall
hole.
in that league, and then I picked Balaj, I picked Darwin Thompson. Oh, it's bad picks, dude. Oh man, and then I picked Kittle, was a good pick. And I ended up trading him. It was a mess. That league was a mess. But yeah. So I mean, we had a lot of CFC fill the four. Yeah, didn't you get him, Tony? Um, but with busts and good predictions, there's the biggest surprises that no one really sees coming either. So we had a lot of those last year. I think personally, I think it was probably the most in a while. My favorite, I think I think is Aaron Jones. I mean, Aaron Jones. I think is one of the most well-rounded running backs in the NFL, and for him to pop off like he did last year, especially in a timeshare like he's in, taking advantage of when Jamal Williams was hurt, and taking advantage of every carry he had and the catches that was huge. The catches was a huge thing they added onto his arsenal, dude. I love Aaron Jones. Last year he
Well,
was awesome, huh?
that's what's gonna have to carry him this year too, because they actually just they drafted like a bruiser,
Yeah, they did.
early down back. So I think they might split Aaron Jones out wide a lot more this year, and that would be good for him.
I agree. I still value Aaron Jones very high. I think he's a stud.
I think pretty sure I still have him in my top 10.
Yeah, I mean, even last year I had him pretty. I had him in the top 20, but I didn't expect what he gave out. I mean, he carried me in my league, in the league
Yeah.
record. He carried me.
Yeah, my work league, he was the guy. Him and Michael Thomas.
Yeah, Michael Thomas was not a surprise. That guy's a stud. I mean, we all knew he was to be top
He's a
three,
beast.
but well, we had Derrick Henry. Everybody thought his career was done. We all thought he was a bust, and he comes out and now he's like, I'm a
Well,
top five running back, bro. You can't forget
yeah, he
about me.
popped off the end. He popped off the very end of 2018, and everyone was like, "Ah, it was a fluke. Stay away from him in drafts."
Yep.
A lot of people did, and then he popped off again.
Yeah,
As the season goes on, he gets better.
his ADP was
Yeah,
real low
yeah.
last
People
year.
were staying away.
It was they paid off for him. He won a lot of people leagues, dude. He
Mhm.
was a beast. Another guy who won a lot of people leagues was Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker was a monster, dude. They got people who picked him off of waiver wires. I think the guy who won the league and the guy who won our league had him, picked him up off the waiver. That's unbelievable. You know what I mean? A guy like
mean,
that. Whew.
This is that fourth or fifth year in the league. Had never
Injury.
really lived up to the potential.
Yeah, a
and
lot of
then-
injuries. A lot of injuries.
Well, I mean, Adam Gaze also has a lot to do with it.
True. True. The Jets.
Could be the problem with your guy Bell.
Yeah, I'm still high on Bell. Bell's still my dude. Yeah. And then a guy I'm high on this year. I don't know if you are as high as I am. I think I am probably the only one who thinks this highly of him. He's probably this year's Bell for me. Hey, Brielle. Hi. You going to bed? Have a kiss. Mwah. Good night. She saw your face, Kev. She looked right at you. Anyway, Mostert. Yeah, I'm really high on Mostert. The Colonel Mustard, dude. I love this guy. I think he's an absolute savage. His playoff output last year, that one game against was the Packers, right? He had 4 touchdowns. Absolute animal. I think he's gonna be a stud again this year. They got rid of Matt Breida. I know they still got Tevin Coleman, and they got somebody else too. I can't think of his name right now, but I think that McKinnon.
He's hurt.
Yeah, he gets hurt every year, dude. Yeah, before the season even
starts.
He hasn't
played in 2 years.
Yeah, I'm not scared of him. I think Mostert's an animal. I think he's gonna finish in the top 5. I mean, I got him listed top 10 right now. I like San Fran's offense. Obviously, they went to the Super Bowl last year and stuff like that, but I don't know.
I just worry about like the journeyman guys like that, the one-hit wonders. He averaged 6 yards per carry last year. It's not gonna. That's really hard.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't know about him is that he's been around for quite some time.
2015, man. He's been on like so many different teams already. I mean, you could be right.
Yeah, I mean, it
But
could be.
it could very easily just shift back to Tevin Coleman like dominating the touches next year. It's
Yeah,
tough with a guy like that.
that's true.
But he did look really, really good.
He
His
did.
legs were fresh though. That helps.
I mean, even when he was splitting time with Coleman, he just showed them that he's better.
Yeah, he
You
did
know,
look better
he
too. He
looked
was
a lot
way
better.
more explosive. He was way more explosive. You're right on that.
I mean, there's a lot of
It just makes me
times
nervous, man.
we
I
would
don't know
play.
why.
I could see why. I mean, it's a San Fran running back. He's Shanahan's a committee guy. He likes to do the committee thing. But I think once you get a guy like that, you got to ride the hot hand, dude. I remember
Right.
picking
Well,
him in
we'll
DraftKings
see.
and watching him bust out for runs, and then they take him out and put Coleman back in, and you're like, why is they doing that? And then so
Right.
I'm big on the Mostert. We'll see. Coleman can never stay healthy either. He was always hurting at Atlanta too. Um, but you got anybody else you want to add? Any big surprises from last year?
Big surprises from last year.
I think we had a quarterback we talked
Who else
about.
we got here? Jameis Winston,
Yeah, bro. How about that
QB
guy?
5, and he still threw like 35 interceptions.
QB5 though. That's a
QB
playoff
5.
quarterback
I mean,
right there.
no, overall, I think he was overall in like QB 2 in our scoring. But I mean, he was
Yeah,
a guy
well,
who's not on a team anymore. Like,
yeah, that's right. He's a backup
or he is on a team, but like he's not gonna probably see the field.
unless Breeze gets hurt. But it's
Breeze,
crazy.
I mean, they got
It's
Taysom Hill too. So
Taysom
I mean, I
Hill.
don't know. Is he even gonna?
Crazy. I
He might
think
not
it's
even
nuts.
play. It's possible he doesn't even play it down.
It's nuts. He went from
And he
he's
was like,
QB top five QB
he
in
was a
fantasy.
top fantasy player last year,
In the year before that, he wasn't
despite
bad.
the interceptions.
Yeah, but I mean that's.
Yeah, I guess that's when you have that much talent. I mean, we'll see what Tom Brady can do with it.
Right. And then I'm just gonna throw one more in there. He wasn't really a year-round surprise, but some guy that I kind of like this year. He popped off for a couple weeks last year. Is Chase Edmonds. That's a name I'm gonna talk about more in a future show. But he won me a couple weeks just because the one week I played him, he had like 4 touchdowns. It was absolutely incredible. So I just wanted to put him in there. Just get that name in your guys' head because that's somebody that I like, and I'm gonna talk about him later. Not in this show, but in the future. So just,
Sneaky,
he's a sneaky guy.
sneaky late round pick.
I like him. I like him a lot. But anyway, so what about
David
biggest?
Johnson's not there anymore.
That's true. David Johnson is not there. He is in a better home.
They don't have to force him if he carries every game, so we'll see what happens.
He's coming up soon. But all right, okay. Why don't you talk about the biggest disappointments? I had a few of those.
All right, well, I'll talk about Odell.
Okay.
Drafted Odell in my work league, and I mean, a lot of that can be Freddie Kitchens not knowing how to run a team or an offense or anything really, or it could be Baker just not being good, and it could be just Odell and his personality traits. But I don't know. He just didn't have the year we thought he would with that much talent on the offense. I ended up trading him in the league I had him.
I was high on Odell
He
too.
became like you couldn't start him every week. It was disappointing.
I had him in the league with my father, and we were high on Odell. We had the combo. I mean, it's we ended up with Lamar instead, but yeah, we benched Odell a lot.
Yeah, there was a stretch there where you couldn't have him in there like
Yeah.
confidently at all.
I mean, he went against Pittsburgh twice, and they shut him down. And then it's that division in general is tough. You got Pittsburgh, you got the Ravens,
Baltimore, yeah.
Baltimore. I mean, even the Bengals against the Browns is always a brawl. So like it's I don't know. He was a big disappointment for me as well. I mean, his quarterback was a big disappointment for me too. I mean, Baker. Everybody was high on Baker.
I mean the O line was trash.
Yeah, that team
They're
was
working on. The coach was trash.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think there's better things coming, obviously, for Cleveland. I'm not gonna hop all aboard the hype train on them again like everybody was last year. This year, that hype train has moved to Arizona.
I'm big on Arizona.
I'm pretty sure Arizona's the team this year.
Are they the Hard Knocks team?
I think it's the LA teams.
Oh boy. All right.
Both of them, right? What I saw.
I haven't even looked into that. I like that show though. I'll talk about Lev Bell because I picked Lev Bell number one in about 3 leagues. I had him really high on my board, like I said before. So he's my biggest disappointment, man. I mean, I ended up trading him in every league I had him. Pretty late in the year though, so I didn't really get much for him. He was a mid-tier running back at best last year. He had 1 week he had 20 points. That's the most he had, and those were all receptions of 1 yard. So I mean, it's he was a big disappointment. It's unfortunate because he has the fantasy history of being a top tier running back, with the potential to be untouchable top tier running back. So coming off of an injury free season, rested with his holdout and shit, I thought Lev Bell would be the guy to have. It's a fair assessment. I mean, I can't really put all the blame on myself. Um, I shouldn't have picked him number one. I definitely should have went Christian McCaffrey. They were my 1-2, but I just was so sold on Bell. Um, I was so unsure about Carolina and what their idea was for their offense because they still had Newton. So CMC really wasn't the icon yet. But then, once the season went underway and Cam got hurt and they figured out CMC is an absolute animal. And that was it. But, yeah, Bell, big disappointment, man. I was really anticipating at least a top 5 season from him, but hopefully that's not Mostert next year I'm talking about, so we'll see. But yeah, I'd have to say Lev Bell. Um, yeah, I mean, do you have anybody else you want to talk about, Kev?
I mean, we kind of already touched on Baker,
Yeah.
but I think we'll move on.
All right. Um, so the best value pick of 2019, um, we got Cortland Sutton. So that's an agreement that we had. We picked him, and we think that where he was picked was what would we 13th round wide receiver
He's a
49.
13th round pick.
Yeah, some leagues undrafted. He ended up
And
finishing
he ended
wide
up
receiver
top
19.
20.
Yeah, wide receiver 19. So I mean
Uh,
it's a pretty good pick,
Can't
man.
ask for much more than that.
Right. Those are the guys that win you leagues right there. That's a value and a half. 13th round, 49th wide receiver taken. He was a stud. I had him in a couple leagues. I like him this year. So yeah, Sutton, that was a good pick. He was a beast. All right,
Good
dude.
value.
Let's go on to the next topic, bro. We're gonna talk about new faces and new places, dude. You ready for this? All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start off with the man,
The picks.
the man D Hop, bro, over in Arizona. The man left, got traded. They said deuces to the, I think talent-wise, best receiver in the NFL. They send him off to Arizona for David Johnson. Good trade for both teams. We got David Johnson coming up next, so we'll just kind of talk about both here. What do you think about D Hop in Arizona? You already know what I think, so let's hear what you think.
He's a freak.
I agree.
He's just a freak, man. You put the ball near him, he's gonna catch it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some of the best hands in the league. He just doesn't drop the ball.
I just think the pairing with Kyler Murray, man.
You put him in that air raid offense where Kyler's just gonna throw it a million times. I think you got like three wide receivers there that can make an impact, and Hopkins is going to be an animal. I don't think it hurts his value at all.
Right. So you still consider him top? We'll say top 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I have him 3 right now.
Behind Adams and Thomas.
I have him behind, Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams. That's it.
I got him number 2, I believe, under Michael Thomas. So I'm high on D Hop. I'm high on Arizona. I think. Are you high on? I think we're both high on Arizona, dude. I think
I think they're just going to be so fun.
Yeah.
Even if they don't win a lot of games.
Team, man. They're going to be fast.
It's going to be great for fantasy.
Mm-hmm. I'm hyped on them. I like it. And then David Johnson going to Houston. I think that secretly could be the winner of the trade. I mean, D Hop is D Hop. You know what I mean? He's gonna bring what he's gonna bring, and everybody knows who D Hop is. But David Johnson, coming off of an awful year last year, He honestly could have been someone we talked about for big disappointment. He was a first round pick in a lot of leagues. I wasn't high on him because he's injury ridden, but coming off of a pretty low year, like really low. It's probably his lowest year. Um, didn't really get much volume. He rested a lot of the time. There were a couple games where they didn't want to force him out there. That's when Chase Edmond got his shine. I think that's going to help him in the long run. I think him going to Houston, that's what they need. And they needed a running back, bro. They needed a guy to give the ball to. They didn't have that. They
You
did
need
not.
like a 3-down guy, and
Yeah,
I hope they let him be that if he's healthy enough.
I think that's what I think's going to
I mean,
happen. I mean, it's all
Duke
speculation.
Johnson's there.
Duke
Duke
Johnson.
Johnson is there, but I mean, they had him last year with Carlos Hyde, and they handed Carlos Hyde the ball a million times.
Hyde was a.
Duke wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Duke Johnson didn't make an impact, so.
Yeah, they gave the ball a lot to Hyde. So I'm hoping that's the same thing with David Johnson, man, because David Johnson's a way better talent than Hyde. So as long as Johnson can stay healthy and on the field, I mean, Houston's offensive line is decent, and I mean, he's got a. Nothing against Kyler, and I love Kyler, and I like him a lot more than Deshaun Watson this year. But Deshaun Watson's a vet, so he's going with a like mind kind of a personality. He doesn't have a youngster calling the shots on offense. He's got the guy Deshaun Watson calling the shots. He's got Bill O'Brien running the ball first. That's what they run first offense. It's gonna be interesting to see David Johnson in the Texans.
They lost their like 150, 160 target guy.
D Hop. Yeah, it's gonna go somewhere.
I mean, they have Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller.
Ugh.
I mean, those are like field stretchers. I mean, they don't have like a top receiver anymore.
Those guys are in the hospital week 1, bro. Torn hamstrings.
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys, we got a hamstring injury and a concussion waiting to happen. So, I mean, with Kiki Cutie is going to go out there and be their number 1 receiver. I think David Johnson, if he can even stay on the field, he's going to be a great value pick this year.
Yeah, he's going pretty low right now. I'm not going to go into too much stats. We're going to keep going with this. But I like him. I like him a lot this year. I think that's a good place for him to go. I mean, if it went anywhere else, I don't know how I'd feel about it because all the other teams in the NFL are pretty solid at running back. The only thing they really needed one was Houston, and they got one, so I'm pretty high on it.
I think I would have liked Detroit.
Detroit,
but they drafted their guy. So,
Detroit they got Swift, and then they got Kerryon.
Hey, Kerryon, he looked terrible.
Yeah, he did.
Doesn't look like
he did. He didn't look too.
Doesn't look very good.
You're right. All right, so next we got a Brown, Austin Hooper. There he is, Austin Hooper.
Oh.
Now you can't read the letters, but that's what it says. It's Austin Hooper, new team, Cleveland Browns. From the Falcons, had a huge year last year. He probably could have been a surprise guy we talked about. Huge year. He was kind of high on the draft boards, though, because tight end's such a weak position in fantasy football. What do you think about him in Cleveland?
Not as high on him as I would have been if he was still on Atlanta.
Okay.
But
so you think this hurts him?
It does. Definitely think it does. I mean, Njoku's still there for now.
He's gone.
And they have Odell, they have Landry, they have Chubb, they have Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, they got a lot of people to feed.
I don't know, and Njoku hasn't exactly been super productive there. So, I mean, I don't know how much Baker's really going to target his tight end.
Baker, I guess Hooper, to me, I guess, when I look at Hooper, look at who was the tight end they had last year when Njoku was hurt. Because Njoku was out for half the year last year. And they had a tight end who was catching a lot of balls, actually. Damn, I can't think of his name. Big dude, like 6'6", is a monster. Fells, was it Fells? Daniel Fells? Was that him?
Nah, he was with Houston.
That's, man. I don't know, whatever. But he caught like 6 touchdowns or something, dude. And then Njoku comes back, he gets the targets. I think Hooper in Cleveland, they wanted him, they got him. They're gonna have some sort of plan with him. They'll roll him out there with Odell. I mean, they're gonna use a tight end in their sets every offensive drive. So I don't know if I say it hurts his value. I think he still maintains his top 10 tight end value, but
Probably stays about the same.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it will hurt him necessarily. I think it'll do him better than anything else. But yeah,
I don't know. I like
I wouldn't
Matt
reach on
Ryan was
Hoop.
really looking his way, so
Yeah,
Matty Ice is.
yeah.
I think Matt Ryan's a better quarterback than Baker
Oh
Mayfield,
no,
but
not a doubt, not a doubt, not a
obvious.
doubt.
But we'll have to see. I think he's definitely still a top 10 tight end.
Yeah, I mean, like I said though, tight ends are weak, so I mean that's not really a
Right.
crazy thing to say, you know. But I like him. I think he's an all right pick. All right. So who else we got? We got somebody else. We got this guy. This guy, Melvin Gordon. Oh man, what a bad
Oof.
situation. Honestly, I'll go first. Melvin last year won me a couple leagues because I had Austin Eckler, and I don't know, man. Going to Denver, I mean, I don't think Denver's a bad team. I mean he'll do fine there, but fantasy wise, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's gonna have to share time with Philip Lindsay, uh, and I like Philip Lindsay. I mean, he's a savage. And then you got Royce
He hasn't
Freeman,
done anything wrong.
right?
He's looked great.
Yeah, and they still got Freeman. So I mean, they got mouths to feed over there too, and they got the new receiver they drafted. They got
Yeah, there's kind of
Sutton.
stacked too.
They got a pretty
Sutton, Judy, Hamler, and Noah Fant.
Noah Fant.
I think
Yeah,
I think they want to sling the ball a little bit with Drew Lock. So,
Drew Lock. I like Drew Lock. He's a
but if
good.
the offense is good, then Melvin Gordon could be good.
Yeah,
I think
no.
there might be enough work for both of them. The offense is moving
Well,
well.
I mean, there wasn't really enough work for Philip Lindsay and Freeman last year. You know, I mean, Lindsay had 13 carries. You know, and like that's a guy you would want to have 20, 25 carries, because his talent is way. I mean, he's way above Freeman. I think Freeman's a bum. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut. I mean, I don't think he's that great of
He
a
probably will.
I mean, if you had to put a cut block up, he'd probably be on there right now. If that's the case, then I think Melvin's value will go up. But if you had to look at it now and you have to go off of what you saw last year, kind of have to think they're going to give Freeman some ball on the goal line. So that takes away from Gordon's value a little bit. And I was a big Gordon guy when he was in with the Chargers, when he was in San Diego, when he was in. Oh, thank you for the chair, Rez. Appreciate that, man. I think when he came back off his injury last year, they made it a point to give him the ball more, and he went off. He's good. He's a good talent. So we'll see. Um, you like him? I mean I think I got him in my top. What's he number? I think I got him in the top 20. If not, he's a little bit outside the top 20 right now. So I don't know. He's not as good as he was. If like he didn't have the holdout last year, he would have been a top first round pick running back. In my opinion, people probably would have picked him in the first round. So
Right.
you know what I mean?
And I mean, Philip Rivers just kind of forced the ball to Eckler. So it was like
Well, that's what he was.
there.
That's that kind of
It
quarterback.
was different there for Gordon last year
Yeah.
when he came back. I mean, Eckler, even when he came back, Eckler was still popping off for
Eckler was such a beast.
a ton of catches.
Such a beast.
And they were just, but this year, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with Gordon and Lindsey. It's a weird situation.
You have to. Yeah, I got him.
Because I mean,
I
their
have
skill
16.
set's not incredibly different.
Who? Oh, them two. Gordon and
They
Lindsey.
weren't really using, like, you could say they're gonna give the ball to Melvin Gordon and then like kind of use Philip Lindsay as a pass catcher, but that's not what they've been using Philip Lindsay as. So
Yeah.
he's been running between the tackles. He hits the hole hard. He runs fast. He's gritty. I mean, I like Philip Lindsay, but it's just a tough call.
Yeah, I will see. We'll see if they stick with their guy Lindsey and work Melvin in on third downs or something. But because he's a better pass catcher, I think.
If Melvin shows his talent that we know he has, he's gonna win that job.
I just feel bad for
Confident,
Lindsey because Lindsey's a beast.
Melvin's never gonna. I don't think he'll hit the potential that he could have had with the Chargers.
Yeah. All right. Next we got Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs from Minnesota to the Bills, bro. Big acquisition for the Bills. I like their offense this year. What do you think about Diggs in Buffalo?
That's one of my favorite ones of the year.
Favorite, yeah,
Pretty
acquisition.
high on Diggs.
How are you not? How are you not?
Right. I mean, he was so frustrated for like the past 2 years
Still
because
went
Kirk
off.
Cousins just didn't really look his way enough. I feel like Diggs is a guy who should be targeted as many times as the best. Like, he
Diggs,
could get Michael Thomas like targets.
I
He's
agree. I think I
Why
got.
not?
I think a lot
He's
of
big,
us.
good hands. I don't know.
A lot of us have him outside the top 10. And that can easily change real fast, man. Josh Allen coming up. That guy is legit. He's not a one hit wonder. He's gonna be a good quarterback in the NFL. That division's weak as hell. He's outside of Stephon Gilmore. He's gonna have field day against the Dolphins. He's gonna have a field day against the Jets. The dude's a savage. He's an absolute animal. Um, I like Diggs. I like Diggs. I see him moving up on our boards pretty high. Um, yeah, man. I don't know how people don't love this.
Like,
I saw this
no, I
trade,
mean,
bro.
this gives them their guy
Yep.
that they can feed the ball to, and then they have John Brown who can just stretch the field.
Yeah, they still
They
got
got a
John
couple
Brown.
running backs now. Josh Allen take off at any time. Buffalo could be trouble.
They could be trouble, bro.
I like that situation for him.
They could be wearing the crown. This could be their
Allen
year.
can he can just be a little bit more careful with the ball, or just make smarter decisions in general. What he did in the playoff game against Houston, where he like tried to lateral it. I mean, he can't be doing that kind of thing, but talent's obviously there.
That play, bro. I remember that play.
Dude,
Oh
he
my
just like
god.
threw the ball backwards at nobody,
We had
man. He
money on
can't be
it, dude.
doing stuff
Killed
like that,
killed the parlay.
right? Buried
um,
it. First game of the week.
oh, yeah. I mean, Diggs, man. That was my favorite acquisition of the offseason for any team. Even we'll talk the next guy. Even the next
I like
guy.
it a lot.
I mean, it's Diggs. I like him. I like him. I mean, he's definitely gonna move into my top 10 at some point. I'm sure. There's just receivers are so deep in the NFL, man. There's so many good receivers. There's so many good receivers, man. The people I got in front, I got AJ Brown in front of him, Odell Beckham, Juju, uh, Adam Thielen, Mike Evans,
Right,
Keenan
he could
Allen.
definitely. I feel like he could easily finish ahead of all four of those guys you just named.
Exactly. I mean, he
There's
could.
no reason he shouldn't get a lot of volume.
Yeah. I'm thinking honestly. Even some of the guys I got in my top 10, I could see him going ahead of them too. Adam Thielen, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Kenny Galladay. I mean, he could finish ahead of those
You
guys
got
too.
Keenan Allen pretty high though this year. You got high hopes for him, huh?
I like Hebert. I'm a Hebert guy. But we'll talk about
He's
that
not
later.
even going to start.
Man, we'll see. We'll see about that. We'll see about
Tyrod
that.
Taylor.
Tyrod,
Oh,
my
for a
butt,
year,
bro.
right? That's what they're saying anyway.
Yeah. All right, next guy. Something that's gonna make us all upset here, us New England fans. Mr. Tom Terrific going to the
There you
Tampa
go.
Bay Buccaneers with his boy. Oh, with his boy, Mr. Gronk, dude. I mean, I'm gonna put them together because I just think that's just the way it should be. Tom the Gronk. I mean, I was crushed, honestly. You want to talk about Tom real quick? Let's talk about how crushed we were. Um, Growing up watching Tom for what our whole lives, dude. 20 years of
20
beautiful,
years, man.
beautiful football, man, and then to have it taken away, and going to the Bucks, and then he takes Gronk with him out of retirement, bro, and the guy looks shredded as hell, man, and he looks like he's in great shape. Ah, man, it makes you so mad, like you're like, you want to move on from Brady, you want to make, the Pats. Man, I don't really want to talk too much about it because it's not fantasy, but.
It was definitely a sad day, but
It was.
it had to happen. We could see it coming the last 2 or 3 years.
So you got Brady in Tampa, man. I mean, what are you thinking? I mean,
I don't see how he could have like a terrible year. I mean, it's a good division.
Mike
You guys play the
Evans.
Saints, Falcons. I mean, I'm not too worried about Carolina, but they just have so much talent.
So much talent, man.
Godwin and Evans could both easily be top 10 receivers. Beat them. And you got Gronk and OJ Howard still on the team. They just drafted their pass catching running back. Could be a little James White action.
I think
Sean Vaughn.
I think they
Right,
got
Tom.
who they got Shelby Miller, right? They got the slot receiver. That's a guy to look out
Scotty
for.
Miller.
Toss him in
Scotty
there.
Miller.
Scotty, is that his name? Scotty?
His name's Scotty Miller.
Yeah, that's a guy to look out for. That's who Brady throws to. He doesn't care who you are. Brady is not going to care. He doesn't care if you're Chris Godwin. He doesn't care if you're Mike Evans. He's going to throw the ball to the guys who listen to him in practice and the guys who catch the ball. That's what he does.
Yeah, he wants guys in a spot.
Yep.
He wants the guys to do what he wants them to do. And so if Godwin can't go out there and do that, I don't know. But he looks very capable, Chris Godwin. So I like him again.
Of course.
But
we got Tom. Tom, what do you got him? You got him top 10?
Yeah, top 10.
Okay. I don't think I do.
Let me see where I got him. I mean, he could definitely be a bust.
I got him as a bust. I think he's gonna be a bust. I don't think he's gonna be as good as everybody's hyping him up. But I think a lot of that is hatred.
I have him 10.
I think a lot of that is just me being upset that he's gone. And if he'd stayed in New England, you think Gronk would have came back?
No.
No.
He didn't want to play up here anymore.
Oh, I got Tom higher than you.
I think he was. I have him 10 overall. You got him at 8, I think.
I got him 8. Oh, that's gonna change. Yeah, I got him 8.
Yeah, you gotta bump him. You're gonna bump him down a little bit.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think Gronk would have came back if he stayed in New England. So I think that is.
No, he doesn't want to play up here. We're in the cold for Bill. He wants to be in Florida having fun with his buddy Tom. I get it. And I think they're gonna be a fun team to watch.
I can't. Like, I'm not. The television that's gonna come from this. The amount of people that are gonna watch, it's gonna be great. It is, but at the same time, it's like, damn, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
I got a portrait of Tom Brady hanging up in my kid's room.
I got 3 of them right in front of me in my basement right now.
Tom is everywhere. Tom is everywhere in my house, bro. He's a goat. I asked my daughter. We
were watching him win Super Bowls when we were in like the 3rd grade, dude. So
right. I remember they were the year he came in, dude. I remember that shit, dude. It's just, I don't know. I asked my daughter, I said, who the GOAT is, and she tells me Tom Brady. It's just like, it's... what about Gronk? You think Gronk's going to be a top-tier tight end coming back?
No.
You don't think so?
I think I have him in my top 10 right now just for fun, but I also have him listed as a bust.
You got to kind of anticipate it a little bit.
Like, you can't just be like, oh, Gronk's back.
Phenomenal, yeah. No.
There's some good tight ends out there this year.
Yeah, I think the tight end position is growing.
It's deeper this year than I think it has been in a while.
Yeah, I agree.
There's some names out there.
I agree. I think the tight end position in general is just growing, more and more every year. I think it's becoming
a lot of athletes playing tight end now.
That's what I mean. Yeah, a lot more athletes are going over to the position.
So they're not just blocking.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we got guys. Darren Waller out there.
Darren Waller, man, that guy is an animal. Another surprise. We missed out on a lot of surprise guys we could have talked about. That's okay. We got a lot more shows to go.
Right.
So yeah, we'll put Tom Brady and Gronk in the trunk for now. Just let them be legends over in Tampa, I guess, and pretend that I'm not mad at them. And
who wins more games, Rye? Patriots or the Bucks?
Ooh, man.
Yeah, it's not really a fantasy topic. What do you think?
Probably
still gonna roll with the Pats. Why not?
It's tough, man. I mean, you gotta kind of go with the Pats. You lean towards the Pats because they still got Bill. They just brought in Cam Newton, who we'll talk about next.
I really don't know what to expect from Cam Newton, but
you still got Bill.
We still really only have to worry about Buffalo within our division.
Right.
Whereas Tom has New Orleans twice, Atlanta twice.
He's gonna have
We have an incredibly tough schedule, though.
and the NFC
Patriots this
NFC
year.
in general is
But
probably, I would think, a lot tougher than the AFC. So I don't know.
I think
So yeah, mm, I'll go Pats for now. That'll change, I think.
it's a
Um,
tough call. That's why it's a betting line right now.
yeah, it's a tough call. It all comes down to how these receivers play with Brady. I mean, they're athletic and they are talented as hell, and
He's
they
been working out with them already.
yeah. So I mean, I don't see
Yeah,
why it would be an issue.
I,
A lot of people saying that their egos are going to get in the way and they're not going to be able to play together. I said, it doesn't make any
I
sense.
don't think I don't think Godwin has an ego.
I don't either. Like, when do you ever hear them
Yeah,
talk?
Mike Evans maybe, but I mean those guys haven't really been an issue in the
Tampa,
league so far.
Tampa in general is just quiet all the time. You never really hear anything out of Tampa, besides Jameis, and then he's gone. So, all right.
Right. Yeah, Jameis with the crab legs and being blind and throwing 35 interceptions. Always something about Jameis, but
The crab legs. Oh man. All right. Next we got Cam going to New England. Um, you want to start this one? Or want me to?
you go ahead.
So
Go ahead. I think you're a little higher on Cam than I am.
I wouldn't say I'm high on Cam, but all right, yeah, I guess I probably am. I think so. McDaniel's as an offensive coordinator, when he was in Denver as their head coach, he wanted Tim Tebow because of the play style he had coming out of college, which was very similar to what Cam Newton was the following year. So I think McDaniel's is very high on Newton himself, which makes me high on Newton because it's his offense. So I think it's going to open a whole new playbook for McDaniels. I think it's going to open up a lot of targets for N'Keal Harry. I think that's a guy who's going to benefit from this the most. Um, I don't think the Pats are done either. I think they're going to bring in somebody else. I think there's more to this story.
We did just free up some salary.
Restructured with Rex.
Burkhead restructured, so we don't know.
Um, the tight ends we drafted are going to benefit from this. Nothing against Stidham. I think Stidham has it. I think he could be a decent quarterback in the NFL.
I was ready to rock with Jarrett Stidham.
I think we all were. We were all ready. We were all ready to move on.
He can move too. He can run.
Oh, Stidham's probably more. I think Stidham's more agile than Newton is probably. I would think.
Right, Newton's getting old, man. That's why I'm worried about him. He hasn't played in like 2 years. Really.
But what was one of the biggest struggles the Patriots had last year?
Moving the ball, scoring touchdowns.
Red zone offense.
Red zone, yeah.
Cam Newton holds the NFL record for most rushing touchdowns from a quarterback in the red zone. I think he's got 49. I think it's 49. That's an insane number, dude. That's an insane number. If that translates over to New England, they drive down the field like they do with Josh's offense because Cam Newton can still throw the ball. He's not hurt from what they're saying. He's injury free now. He's rested. He's ready to roll. If that's the case, the dude can ball. Man, he's a former MVP. Went to the Super Bowl. Should have won that game. He kind of gave up.
He didn't dive on the fumble.
That's an ego thing. That's a soft play. Yep. But, you move on.
Know that.
We move on from that because we're Patriot fans. We move on and, we accept this.
I'm honestly excited to see his fashion.
Fashion day, man.
I want to see his cold weather fashion. Bring it on.
I'm excited for it. I think
it'll be fun.
It gives us hope. It gives us more hope. I think a lot of us were accepting Stidham so quickly because we were just ready. Like mentally, we're just like, okay, well, we're gonna accept this. We're not gonna be a good team. So let's just roll out with what we got. We got Stidham. Let's it is what it is. We suck. We dropped a quarterback. It's still kind of that same mindset now with Newton. Some people still think that Stidham could be the starting quarterback, which is not out of the question. They told Newton when he came here apparently that he has to win this job. It's not his. Which is a good thing I think for somebody because he does have
to go out there and show it.
He's got an ego. He's got a bigger ego than Phillip Rivers. So you got to bring a guy like this into a whole new team, a whole new atmosphere. This is nothing like Carolina. This place is different. Bill Belichick is different than Ron Rivera. Different.
That was another one of my concerns, honestly.
The way they would clash heads.
I don't see their personalities meshing. But people didn't think Bill could get along with Randy Moss either.
That was my next topic. I was going to talk about that next.
It worked great.
You bring in Randy Moss, from Oakland, I think he had like a touchdown or something his final year in Oakland. And the guy was ready to call it quits. People were quitting on Randy Moss. Comes over to New England, drops a 25-bomb touchdown, breaks their record. They should have won the Super Bowl. They didn't, but it's another story from the day. But
We're not going to talk about that
we're
either.
not going to talk about that. So you got to have some sort of hope for this. You got to be looking forward to it some sort of way. You gotta kind of be excited. So I'm pumped on Newton. I think he translates into a decent fantasy quarterback. I don't know if he becomes a top 15 quarterback or a top 20 quarterback. I don't know if he's draftable yet, but he's a guy to watch. He's a former MVP in the NFL. He's going to play with the greatest coach of all time, arguably one of the best coaches on the offensive side of the ball of all time with Josh McDaniels. He's going to have a really good defense. He's going to have a lot of red zone opportunities. I think he's a guy to really look into before you cross him off your list. Even outside not even like talking as a Patriots fan, the dude's a threat in the red zone every time he has the ball. That's huge. That's 6 points. That's 6 points right there in fantasy as a quarterback. In a lot of leagues, 4 points is, but league of record it's 6 points for a passing touchdown. So that don't really matter to us much. But for you out there that have the 4 point for passing and 6 for rushing, that's pretty big for you guys. So it's something you got to think about. Newton is a stud in the red zone. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you want to add anything to that?
We can anticipate more touchdowns, less field goals this year, hopefully.
Well, I think they are
we
too.
Can get that together.
We drafted that rookie kicker, so. All right.
More guys.
Last but not least is the man, Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley.
Here's an interesting one.
He's very interesting. Kev, I'll let you take off with this one.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm not sure it really makes much of an impact on his value because in either place, if they hadn't moved Gurley, they wouldn't have drafted Cam Akers. So I just feel like in either place he was in, they're in tough divisions.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't too much competition for touches. So it really just comes down to his health in both places. How's his knee doing?
Right. He's arthritis, so that's something that's never really going to go away.
I don't know how much better he can possibly be with Atlanta.
Atlanta, they got rid of Devontae Freeman. So, I mean, the backfield's his. They're going to give him the backfield. I mean, who else they have? What's his name? The little fast
Ito?
guy.
They have Ito Smith?
Brian Hill? Oh, no,
Brian Hill
and Ito Smith.
Is Ito there?
Yeah, Ito's still there. I mean, they got those guys, but Todd Gurley, I mean, another stud. I would, a common comparison would probably be Cam Newton to this guy. Gurley he was a former MVP. Did he win MVP?
He's
no.
Legit.
He's a legit running back, though. I mean, legit. I mean, he's a beast. He's
a 3-down back.
Yes, before his injuries.
2 years ago, I mean, he was the guy.
Pats Rams Super Bowl. The dude brought them to the playoffs. He carried them
came out
all year.
About his knee, and then it looked like Sean McVay I don't know if he was scared or if Gurley said something wasn't feeling right, but first couple games we're seeing Malcolm Brown vulture all the touchdowns. We're not seeing Gurley out there. And the whole year it was kind of like, I mean, they were keeping him fresh.
Right.
Is Atlanta going to do the same thing? I don't think we're going to see Ito Smith and Brian Hill vulturing touchdowns. So I think it helps his value if the knee is good. That's basically it. It all hinges on his health and what kind of risk you want to take there.
Where do you got Gurley right now in your rankings? Do you know off the top of your head? You got him low?
I believe he's top 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I got him.
Looks like
I got him number 18.
16, 17.
Yeah, that's probably the average of where he's at right now.
We got him right around the same area. I have him sandwiched between Devin Singletary and David Johnson right now.
Yeah. So.
I actually have Singletary higher. We already talked about Buffalo, but.
So I think going to Atlanta, I think it helps his value. I think it brings his value up. If you were to have stayed in, with the Rams, they have more talent over there in the backfield than Atlanta does. They have the rookie Akers, and they got Henderson from last year, who's actually pretty decent. So I I think it's going to help him overall. If he can stay healthy, he's a 3-down back. That's not a question. He's a red zone back. That's not a question. But the question is if he can stay healthy or not. And, I mean, that's with every running back in the NFL, but we know about Gurley's knee, so it's not like it's a surprise or something you have to predict.
Yeah, I think
It's lurking.
every time you draft him now, it's like how much of a risk do you think you're taking, and where are you drafting him? Do you feel like it's a value?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pounce on him just because of his name, but
Right.
I think he could have a good year. That's obviously a good offense.
Right. All right. I mean, yeah, I mean, they got Julio still. They got the receivers. They got Calvin. So, I mean, it's going to be a spread offense still. Nothing's really going to change. So, he can catch the ball, too. Just can't forget about that. So, yeah, I think it helps his value. So, that's pretty much it for that. We had a couple other guys. We're not going to talk about them because they're pointless. We can mention them real quick. Matt Breida and Jordan Howard went to Miami. Frank Gore went to the Jets. We were going to talk about Teddy Bridgewater going to Carolina and starting in Carolina. Not big on Bridgewater over there, so we didn't really talk about him much. But yeah, that's it. That's it for that little segment there. That was pretty good, Kev. Good shit, bro. All right, let's move on.
Like it.
We're going to do must-haves. We do not have a graphic for this. I am sorry. It is something that we did not have done. All this was done by me about 10 minutes ago. So must-haves drafts this year based off of ADP. We're going to start off quick with the quarterbacks. I have Kyler Murray. I love Kyler Murray. Man, I got him ranked number 3 right now because you can't really rank him ahead of Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. You just can't do it. But I think Kyler Murray has potential to be the MVP of the NFL this year. I know it's only his second year, and it's probably a jump and a half for me to even consider that. But he's got DeAndre Hopkins. He's got, I think that he's the best receiver in the NFL skill wise. I think he's better than Michael Thomas. Call me crazy. I think D Hop's a better receiver overall. But right now, Kyler's getting picked round 5, pick 5. That's tremendous value. I mean, considering the top 2 quarterbacks are going round 2, and a lot of leagues will probably go round 1. So if you can come away with the number 3 quarterback, possibly the number 1 quarterback in the 5th round, that's huge points. That's huge value. You got to take him. You got to go Kyler Murray. Be high on Murray this year. He's only getting better. He's number 1 pick in the draft last year, in a brand new team pretty much. You know what I mean? The Cardinals were a brand new team last year for the most part. They were building. His only problem is he was sacked 48 times last year. I talked about this on my Instagram story, and my player spotlight. He was sacked 48 times last year, but he stepped up and he took blame for it. And he says he's got something he's going to work on. He's going to make the life of the offensive lineman easier. So that is always good for fantasy because that means he's going to run. And that means he's going to get rid of the ball. He's going to get the ball in D-Hop's hands, which is big. So I like Murray. Round 5, pick 5. If you can get him then or before, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, that was like Lamar 2 years ago. He fumbled the ball a bunch. He was taking unnecessary hits, and he fixed it.
Fixed it, and he ended up being an MVP.
Mean, Kyler should be that guy this year.
Yeah. What do you got, bro?
Well, originally I had Josh Allen, but I switched it up a little bit.
Oh, boy.
Go with the we're going by ADP. You can't find a better value right now than Ryan Tannehill.
There you go. Oh, yeah, you did change it.
It's like barely even being drafted. The QB 17 right now. 17, bro. He was the only quarterback last year with a passer rating above 110 under pressure. He only played in 10 games, and he was a QB 22.
I remember he came on the scene hot last year, man.
Good. He looked really good in Tennessee. I know the change of scenery definitely helped him. And I don't see – if you take the 6 games that he missed, he easily would have been a top 10 quarterback last year. He was running. He's got some big targets. A.J. Brown's a beast. Jonnu Smith's going to be good.
Jonnu.
Run and just feed the ball to Derrick Henry when you don't want to throw it.
Jonnu.
gonna get his. Jonnu Smith. I like it.
All right.
Yeah, I mean you can't at QB 17. I think that's value right there.
I mean,
Someone who I think should easily be a top 10 quarterback,
that
at least a
that's
QB one.
that's what probably like around 10 or 11, even probably not. That's probably undrafted,
Yeah,
honestly.
he's an overall. It's overall 131.
I mean, unless you got guys picking 3 quarterbacks in your league, Ryan Tannehill might very well go undrafted, and if that's the
And you
case,
grab him. Like if you're like the last guy to draft a quarterback and you end up with Tannehill, I mean, there's nothing to be upset about.
I agree with that. I like Tannehill. I liked him last year. I kind of had a feeling he was going to take the job from Mariota. But yeah, it's a good call. I like that one. I like that switch because everybody knows Josh Allen. You know he's going to be a top
Yeah.
five, top 10 quarterback.
We know everybody's going to rank him a little higher than they did last year. We know he runs the ball. Buffalo's going to be good. So I stayed away from the easier pick there. And I went with Tannehill.
I like
We'll
it.
see how that works out.
I like it. I like it, bro. I like it. So running backs, my running back, my boy, Lev Bell again. This year makes a little bit more sense than it did last year. I'm not going to talk about last year anymore because we're going to put that in the past. We're going to talk about now, Lev Bell. Um, Overall, he is ranked average of 18th as a running back, which is crazy low to me. His ADP is number 41 overall, so that's about end of the third round or beginning of the fourth round, so right around there. Um, I think that's tremendous value for Le'Veon Bell. I think if you can get Lev Bell in the third round as your RB2, I think it's sitting pretty heavy right there, dude, at running back. That's a pretty good guy to have at RB2. He's going to get the ball again. He's going to be the every down back. He's going to catch those balls out of the backfield. The Jets' offensive line is much better than it was last year. They made a great pick in the draft. Sam Darnold's going to become a better quarterback. He is still young. He's getting better. I I think overall the Jets are going to be a better team this year. Not great. They're not going to be a great team, but I think for fantasy wise, I think they're going to be able to produce some better numbers for Lev Bell. I think he ends up in a top 10 situation. Um, we'll leave it at top 10 right there. I'm not going to go crazy like I did last year, but I think his value in the third or fourth round like that, I think you can walk away with Lev Bell as your RB2. I think you're sitting pretty happy right there.
I'm going with Devin Singletary.
Dev. I like Devin. I like Devin.
He's running back 25 right now by Fantasy Pros ADP. I mean, it's kind of a steal. I mean, last year you had Frank Gore there, who they're never going to stop giving the ball to. This year there's a rookie. There's Zach Moss in the way,
Yeah, Zach
but
Moss.
they're talking about
What's up?
he's good.
Yeah, he's a guy to look out for. If you're
But they're
drafting.
talking about getting Singletary more involved in the passing game. He only had 29 catches last year. That's a really low number.
Yeah, I like Singletary.
So in any kind of PPR league, you get him involved in the passing game where he can get out in space. He gets any kind of goal line work. You know the offense is going to be better. I think he's pretty good value, especially as an RB2. If you go 0 RB and he's your RB1, I mean that's okay. But if you can get Singletary as your RB2, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah, he's going around the same time as Bell. So I mean, they're both. If you get him in the fourth, fifth round, I think that's great value for both those guys. Devin came on the scene pretty hot last year, come back from that injury. Um, they fed him the ball, man. They like him a lot. I'm not too worried about the rookie. I mean, he's good. He's definitely going to take some touchdowns from him. That's going to happen. He's going to be a red zone threat. But Singletary that late,
I think
it's pretty good.
mostly the passing game work. I mean, he only had 29 catches last year. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
I said, that's a really low number. You bring that up, I think you got yourself some value.
I agree. So receiver, a guy that I was actually high on last year too, Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp right now, he's the 14th wide receiver ranked average. His ADP is 29. Um, I think he's a must-have. I think the Rams got rid of Cooks. Um, he's gonna be the number one again. Jared Goff loves Cooper Cup. Last year, Cooper Cup, I think he finished the wide receiver five. I think he was a top five wide receiver. Um, he blows up. He has his big games where he gets 50 points. He'll catch like 3 touchdowns in a game. If you can walk away with him, ADP is 29 right now. So that's uh, maybe that's a little too early.
It's
That's
third round, right?
it's third round. I mean, that changed. That wasn't what it was before. But yeah, I mean, still third round pick for wide receiver one. That's still pretty good, especially in a PPR based format. I still think he's a must have regardless of his ADP. So if he gets down to you, say you got 2 running backs already and he's there for your wide receiver one, don't be ashamed to take him. I think he's a stud. He was a wide receiver one for me last year. I think he continues to be the number one receiver over in with the Rams. So that's somebody to think about. Cooper Cup, baby.
My wide receiver is DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, that's your boy,
I'm
bro.
gonna.
That's your Chris
That's my
Godwin.
guy this year, man. That's my Chris Godwin for this year. I like him a lot. I think he took a big step forward last year, and that was with Kyle Allen at quarterback, who just kind of put a blindfold on and threw the ball around. I mean, he started out pretty good, and then it just went,
Yeah.
didn't go too great. I think he overthrew Curtis Samuel on every deep ball there was, but that's beside the point. Right now we got DJ Moore, wide receiver 18 on Fantasy Pros ADP
hmm
and 51 overall. I mean, that's like a fifth round pick almost for a guy who I think he's going to catch at least 100 balls. Bring Teddy Bridgewater in, short, accurate, get the ball out of his hands. He's
I
not
agree.
trying to get hit.
I don't think he's gonna
O-line should
be.
be a little better.
I don't think Bridgewater is gonna be crazy good in Carolina, but I think with DJ Moore's talent, it's
But
gonna be fine.
what he's good at is, just being efficient, and he's accurate. And I think more obviously Christian McCaffrey's there,
hmm
and he's gonna do what he does. He's gonna catch a million balls and score a ton of touchdowns.
Yeah,
But the whole offense should be more efficient
yeah,
with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. I think DJ Moore is just going to be a huge beneficiary of that. He's their possession guy. I think Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, they're mostly. Well, Robbie Anderson's really just the deep ball guy. Samuel, they're going to
Robbie.
give him the end arounds, little gadget plays. But DJ Moore's their guy. He's my Godwin this year. He's going to catch 100 balls. You can get him at his ADP right now. That's an absolute steal because I have him ranked 7.
7.
7.
That's high.
Wide receiver 7. Oh, it's full point PPR.
Yeah,
Bro,
it makes sense.
that's where he's going to end up.
That makes sense.
He's top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Moore pretty high last year. He ended up paying out well for me, so I can kind of get by you on the DJ Moore hype train. I'll be there with you. I'll take him if he's sitting there at that low. I mean, you gotta kind of hop on that. That's not a
Yeah,
bad
I
pick.
might.
I wouldn't jump
Yeah,
first or second
I'm
round.
probably
On
going
him.
to pounce on him a little higher than that.
You think second round?
I think his ADP is going to come up as we get
As we
closer,
get closer, yeah, more than likely.
like Godwin's did. Some high profile guys are probably going to talk about him.
That's how it goes, bro.
Like, right, the footballers or whoever, they're gonna talk about him, and his ADP is going to climb.
Yeah.
But if you're having your draft like early and you can get him at wide receiver 18, I'd jump all over that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you can't really say no to DJ Moore that low.
He only had 4 touchdowns last year too.
Right. He had a lot of catches. He had
At
100 and
I feel like he had I think he had 87 catches last year or 89.
yeah, he's definitely gonna get over that.
I think
for
that
sure.
number comes up, and I think the touchdowns by default get closer to double digits. The team should be a little better.
Yeah.
And McCaffrey is still in his league of his own as the number 1 pick in the draft, but I think his numbers will regress a little bit. Just because, he was absolutely untouchable last year, so I
Right.
expect his numbers to come down a little bit. DJ Moore, he's the guy next in line, really.
So next we'll close it out with the tight ends. We're not gonna go too crazy with the tight ends here because tight ends are weak in my opinion, fantasy wise. Your top 10 tight ends, your top 10 tight ends. You get one of those guys, you're pretty set. If you don't get one of those guys, you got to play the waivers and find somebody. Um, but I'll go Zach Ertz. A lot of people they're gonna pick Kittle, Kelsey. Even Austin Hooper. Some leagues he gets picked before Ertz for some reason. But Zach Ertz is an absolute savage, bro. He's good every year. There is not one year Ertz is bad. He is a wide receiver one in Philly. He is playing the tight end position. I mean, you can't really go wrong with Ertz. If you're getting him, let me get the ADP real quick. I would assume probably like the third round. I mean, if you're good with a wide receiver one and RB1 already, and Ertz is sitting there, you got middle to late round pick in the third or fourth round, dude. You got to scoop him up. You got to scoop up Ertz, man. His target share is unbelievable every year. When he plays, he plays, and Wentz or whoever the hell the quarterback is in Philly gets him the ball.
Beat him.
Yeah, I mean, average. He's actually average ranked fourth right now for tight ends, which is stupid. I mean, I don't really know where you could argue that. You got what? I mean, who would be ahead of him? Waller, I guess. Waller or
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, I
guess. Some people are probably going to take Mark Andrews ahead of him, but
yeah, it's
still like Ertz.
Yeah, I go Ertz all day over Andrews.
They got Goddard. They have Goddard as well. I mean, he's
but I don't think
tight end one by himself.
That don't matter. I agree.
Goddard could probably grab. How many touchdowns did he have last year?
Well, he took advantage when Ertz came off the game. I mean, Ertz is a stud. Philly uses their tight end.
Guy.
Yeah, I like Ertz. His ADP is 36 right now, so that's about third round. So yeah, I mean, if he's sitting there,
that's like the very end of the third round. So they're right to 3-4 turn.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to think about. That 3-4 turn is big. He slips right down to that, say 9th or 8th or 10th pick. A few 10-team league, our league's 12. A few 10-team leagues out there. If you have 10th pick and Ertz is sitting there in the third round, number 10, you scoop him up. You come back around and you get another wide receiver one. You're sitting pretty happy, man, because he's gonna be your tight end every week. He is not. You're not gonna have to worry about benching him. You're not gonna have to worry about any of that stuff. You're not gonna have to worry about waivers for a tight end unless it's his bye week. That's like the biggest thing when it comes to tight ends is you want a tight end that's gonna be in your lineup every week. You don't want to have to shuffleboard it because that sucks. I mean, who wants to do that? I don't want to do that. I don't want to go pick tight ends and have to fucking change them out every week. It sucks. That's
it's nice when you get Kelsey, Kittle, Ertz. When you have that guy, that you just have that tight end.
Last year I got lucky and had Waller. Feeling. I had Waller and Andrews were my two tight ends, so I didn't have to worry about it. It was nice. Usually I have to worry about my tight end. I have to pick some guy off of waivers and hope he pops off, and it sucks. So I like Zach Ertz. I think he's worth it. Especially at that 3-4 turnaround, like you said, Kev. I think that's a perfect spot to take him. You got a nice guy here. I like this guy too.
I got a little sneaky play here. Yeah. Right now, they got him ranked as the tight end 15 right now.
True.
There's some names ahead of him that I would take him ahead of. It's Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins.
There you go.
I mean, the Dolphins. Everybody, laughs at the Dolphins, but. Last year, I don't know, they proved they could move the ball.
I mean,
Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, and Gesicki had
decent numbers.
He had a good year last year.
Yeah, 50 catches, 570 yards, and 5 touchdowns. That's not bad. That's
with Fitzmagic. I think at tight end 15, you got Tua coming in. I mean, we're not sure if Tua's going to start.
Tua's a quarterback.
But I'm going to assume it's Tua, and it's going to be a fun team to watch. They have a run game this year where it was non-existent last year. I think Mark Walton was probably their starting running back half the time last year.
Mark Walton. Come on, you can't short my guys. I saw my guy short there, bro.
Pretty sure he's in jail.
Khalil Balaj, bro.
Pretty sure Mark Walton's in jail. Khalil Balaj, who knows what's going on with him.
Rip.
But anyway, so Gesicki, I think those numbers only go up. He's really showing he was a good athletic tight end. I think tight ends are becoming more athletic, and more of them are going to be fantasy relevant.
So where would
Right
you
now,
be
we're looking
comfy
at
taking Gazeki?
right now he's like 128 overall.
That sounds like
So that's
last couple rounds right there.
he's last couple rounds. I mean, so if you're just one of the people like how I usually draft, tight ends is one of the last things I pick, unless I can get Kelsey or Kittle.
Or Ertz.
So if I can get Gesicki in the last 2 rounds, 3 rounds, I'm probably going to take him. I'm going to take him over Goddard, who
Yeah,
they
who they
have
got? Who do they
ranked
got
ahead
ahead
of
of him?
him.
Who do they got ranked
They
ahead?
have Goddard. They have Goddard ranked ahead of him. I'm going to take him over Goddard because Goddard still. I mean, Zach Ertz is there.
Mm-hmm.
They have Miles Sanders, Boston Scott catching passes out of the backfield.
Yep.
I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Rager. There's weapons there.
Tons.
So
That's true.
Hawkinson, I'm going to draft Gesicki over Hawkinson. Hawkinson last year, he came out first game, looked good, got hurt, didn't really do anything the rest of the year.
He was done. He had the concussions. Yeah.
I mean, he's got the potential, but give me the guy who showed last year he's an improving player. And then there's Higbee.
Higbee.
I mean, Higbee, they got him ranked really high this year.
Why wouldn't you though?
I know he popped off the end of last year, but Gerald Everett is still on the team.
Yeah. No, they got some good tight ends over there.
He's still there, and they got Cobb and Woods. I don't know about. I might keep Higbee ahead of him, but Noah Fant, he didn't really prove anything last year either. I would probably put him right about. I would probably have Gesicki as my tight end 11 or 12.
Okay.
And I think about where he's being drafted right now, it's a good pick.
Yeah, I like
He's one of those
Gesicki.
guys.
I like that Kev. I like him a lot. I like.
But then there's a couple more tight ends being drafted around the same time as Gesicki you can make the same case for.
Yeah.
Or could be sneaky guys that you could play all year. You wouldn't have to worry about streaming tight end.
One of the hardest things in fantasy football, man, streaming tight ends. One of the hardest.
Right.
You could either get a guy like I got Higbee last year. I got lucky with Higbee, but I was streaming tight ends every week, bro. You either get a guy who gets you 5, you get a guy who gets you 0, or you get a guy who pops off and gets you 30, and you get lucky. So
It can be brutal.
It could be brutal, man. It's one of the hardest things in fantasy football.
I mean, the biggest thing for me right now is that Miami didn't really add any receiving weapons.
Yeah.
And they're going in there with Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, and Mike Gesicki as their top 3 targets. So I'll take him.
Good value pick there, Kev. I like that. So that's it for the must-have players of 2020 as of right now. We'll probably update that later on in the shows, but for right now, I got Kyler Murray, Lev Bell, Cooper Kupp, Zach Ertz, and then we got Kev with Ryan Tannehill, Devin Singletary, DJ Moore, and Mike Gesicki. Yeah, so pretty good picks there. Do with that as you please. So that's the end of the first show. Believe it or not, it went by really fast, Kev. It's an hour and a half. But we're going to end the show with a tip of the week. And I'm going to let Kev have this one because I reached last year. So I'm going to let him talk about it because he didn't.
This burned both of us, and I know it burned a lot of people last year because I was following a lot of fantasy guys on Twitter, and there was a lot of hype swirling around. Darwin Thompson, Justice Hill, a lot of names like that. And this year it'll probably be, some of these rookie running backs. And just don't reach on that off-season hype. Don't jump into rounds you shouldn't be jumping at just to try to stop the next guy from getting him. Because usually you go ahead and let them have him. If they're going to reach into the 7th round to grab one of these guys or even earlier than that, I'm not going to do that this year. I'm going to take a guy I know who's going to be on the field. Last year, the Darwin Thompson hype was just out of control.
Everybody was hyped on Darwin.
I think we were reaching literally into the 7th round to get Darwin Thompson, and it just got out of hand. So I'm not going to let that happen again this year.
My first draft that I did last year, I reached on pretty much every one of my picks. I don't think I had one pick that made sense. I reached on Lev Bell. I reached on Kalen Ballage. I reached on Darwin Thompson. I even reached on George Kittle, even though he ended up being good. I reached on Baker Mayfield. I reached on Odell. I reached on everybody.
Right.
it's just so a lot of people, I think what the problem is a lot of people like kind of stop reading about fantasy or they get sidetracked with other stuff and stuff like that. So before that draft starts, they do a quick read and they see something they like, they pick them. You know what I mean? So um, I'm a little more in the expertise of drafting and whatnot. Like same with you. I mean, I have like 10 leagues, whatever the hell it is. Um, the draft I had where I reached on all those guys, it was really early in the year. So all that was fresh hype. Fresh hype. Darwin Thompson was gonna be the number
Oh
one
yeah.
back. Khalil
I
Balaj is
mean,
gonna be a stud. He's
and
gonna
we were seeing beat reporters
yeah.
who were at practice saying these things. We're seeing some of the top fantasy names in the industry talk about these guys, and then it just didn't happen.
Thompson what got
Damian
like six
Williams was still the
carries all
guy.
year.
Shady McCoy was.
Yeah.
I think the initial Darwin hype was there before they got Shady McCoy, but even still,
Mm.
where he was being drafted was a huge reach.
Huge.
So I'm just not gonna. I mean, the beat reporters who see things at practice, that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
And the preseason, take that with a grain of salt too. Some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to watch your preseason and see who looks good, but I just don't reach for the hype. Take your guys who you know are going to be solid. Take the best player available. If I don't know, that's the way I'm looking at it. Even if it ends up you're gonna have a zero RB team. Go with the best player available. Don't reach.
Yeah. It doesn't
Just
always.
instill.
It's always a good thing to get someone who is going to guarantee your team points. You know what I mean? Especially in the early rounds. If you pick
Right.
early rounds, you bust in 2 of your 5 picks, you're probably not going to make the playoffs. And it's such a dog
Yeah,
eat
that
dog
was
kind
my
of a
problem
game.
last year.
So yeah,
I went with the OJ Howard.
it's definitely a good tip there, Kev. Way to end the show. I don't know if anybody's still out there watching, but if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat now. I'll give you a couple of minutes here. But I'll do a quick. We lost Kev again.
Oh,
We made it the whole time.
do we have audio?
We got audio.
That's good. Here I am.
We lost Kev though. Oh well. Well, Kev's still here. We lost his face. The show's already over, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. But yeah, if you got any questions in the chat, drop them here. I'll do a quick social shout out real quick. We have Twitters that is not up yet, so stay tuned for those. But we have an Instagram that's pretty live. We had some polls today for over unders, and we do a player spotlight every Wednesday and Friday. We also have some other things we're going to start posting on there as well, like top 10 lists and stuff like that. So definitely go check us out. What?
We're even we're gonna start tossing up when the season starts. Throw a little betting line action in there.
Oh yes,
just for fun.
Yes, that'll be a new segment in the shows as well, where we talk about betting and stuff. But that's not till the season starts. But it all starts with you guys. So if you enjoyed the show tonight, definitely hit that follow button for me if you don't already. Subscribe if you want. If you do subscribe to us, the Fantasy Dad Show. If you're already a subscriber to my regular Twitch channel, you do get access to our Google Docs. You can see our rankings throughout the year. So it's a nice little feature to give to you guys. But yeah, big hugs to you guys, man. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat now. We'll answer them for you live. If not, I'll answer them for you in private. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Shout out to Kev. Even though you can't see his face, it was his first time live, and he did an awesome job. He killed it. So we will be back next week, next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Fantasy Dads will be back. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your week. Kev, later, bro.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks, man. I will see you.
Yeah, it was fun. Guys, go follow the Instagram at
Okay.
the Fantasy Dads. At the Fantasy Dads. Go follow us on there, dude. It's live. Love you guys. Thank you.
Later.
Later, bro. Oh, we're playing Apex now, by the way, guys. Be right back.